into positions of hopelessness and helplessness. The government gives them the drugs, builds bigger prisons, passes a 3-strike law, and then wants us to sing God Bless America. No, no, no. Not God Bless America. God damn America. That's in the Bible for killing innocent people. God damn America for treating us citizens as less than human. God damn America as long as she tries to act like she is God
Blowing
and
it up.
she is supreme.
Get burned at the stake. People believe and go along with this. And there's a darkness that we have come out of into a more of an enlightened period, a more freer period. And he said, this is a step back into those darkness, into the darkest parts of humanity. And we need to stand up for that now.
Who was that? Was that Batman talking?
That was comedian Rob Schneider.
The You Can Do It guy?
Do we know if that was him or a hot chick trapped in his body?
It's impossible to tell one from the next, but Rob Schneider is taking a stand live on Glenn Beck about the woke mob or something. I don't know.
Yeah, he's been going off all week about what? No one is entirely sure. He's just doing conservative Pete Buttigieg.
He's like the animal up there. But the thing about Rob Schneider is, by his nature, he's always going off. He doesn't have another mode.
That's true.
He's going off 24. He's eating a bird on this cover of The Animal, 2001's The Animal.
I'm looking up.
I put animal parts in you. I remember the commercial for that.
Yeah, dude. He's done caring about his career. He's done making Deuce Bigelow's, the franchise that we all love and is coming out. You thought there was going to be more, but there's not.
I'm just remembering when that movie came out, and I asked my dad, "What's a gigolo?"
Yeah,
because it's in the title of the movie.
It's also a word you just don't hear outside of this film.
My money don't jiggle gigolo.
And he tried to explain it to me. He's like, when a woman is thinking about getting married, she has a man come over and act as her husband.
All right, your father has been a gigolo.
Yeah.
By that definition.
I mean, maybe he thought that was actually what it was.
That's true. He might not know either.
So just like a man comes into your house and just like, what's for dinner?
Yeah,
Have you
pretty
ever
much.
seen?
Just sits on the couch and watches football.
You'll
in
never
an undershirt.
believe the shit I dealt with in the office today.
Anders' father is just older Anders. There's plenty of things he might just have a wild-ass answer about all on his own.
The thing about a gigolo is it allows women to give you a hand job. You can't say no. That's what the job is.
Well, when a man and a mattress get together, Rob Schneider has a new movie. It's called Daddy Daughter Trip, and in his Twitter bio, he says, "My new film Daddy Daughter Trip is coming to theaters, premiering September 30th at Arizona."
Is this directed by Louis C.K.?
Wait, so this is the press tour for his movie. It's like, and I'm done with the press.
Yeah.
Like
right.
in my new film, Daddy Daughter Trip, available at the end of next month.
Well, I think we figured it out. I think he's canceling himself and talking about free speech and shit to promote.
Everyone's figured out the phenomenon of like, yeah, actually, if you can get canceled in the next 30 days, you're going to have an okay, like, opening weekend. There are a lot of angry dads who could see a movie, you know?
Yeah. That's the only reason people consume anything anymore, is to stick it to someone else that they made up in their head, and that Rob Schneider whipped you into a frothy, roiling boil about. And he also, according to his Twitter, he lives in Scottsdale, Arizona, which makes a lot of sense.
He's been a right-winger for a long time. I remember this was 2004. I used to watch The View every day, I think, in the summer. Like,
you got to get back on that.
We didn't have cable, so that's all I had. And I remember him coming on The View, and I swear to God, this is what I remember him saying. He gets on the couch and he's like, yeah, I'm for gay marriage.
Okay.
A lesbian marrying a gay guy.
Oh, damn.
The View ladies are just fainting. They can't handle Rob at his most vicious.
He's talking about how Dark Brandon is making everyone a gay welfare they them or whatever,
Do you think that like ties into the movie, or this is just like?
I mean, if you look at it in a wide enough conservative lens, then it's probably like a family film, which is a conservative weird thing, is that we need to have families and stuff.
Something to sit down with.
This is reminding me of something that I should bring up. Is our boy Raghav said about Rob Schneider back in 2019, I think, or 2018, is that it's ironic that he's conservative, given that he's the sole beneficiary of an Adam Sandler-based welfare state.
That is so true. I was about to ask, like, does Rob Schneider have any good movies? Like, is there anything where you're like, well, you gotta hand it to him?
Well, it's a good...
Real Rob has a lot to offer.
It's a good point, because the point he keeps making is like, the system that got me to where I am, which is freedom and the market and all this stuff. And it's like, you literally just...
hanging out around Adam Sandler.
Yeah, you're like the P. Diddy umbrella guy to Adam Sandler. He just fucking made you.
You get the role of the townie in Little Nicky, 2000. I'm on his IMDb.
We have this stupid system of celebrity where, like, if you blow the fuck up and you win the talent lottery or whatever, and you go mega viral, you get to pick, like, 7 people who are just kind of around you and then make them like your lieutenants.
Yeah, that's what Entourage was about.
Yeah.
How cool it would be to win the fame lottery.
It's also like embarrassing for those people because now they can never defy you. Like, this is stupid. It's a stupid byproduct of the system that we live in. And he's totally one of those people. He's not it's not like one of Adam Sandler's other friends just, they all just happen to rocket to success at the same time. They're all just like holding on to this thing that's like generating all the cash and stuff. So
it's kind of like having knights. You get to knight people. Yeah. You get your own round table of comedic actors.
Apparently his daughter is a musician who lives in Bushwick.
Right, yeah.
This is what she looks like.
Oh, yeah. She's one of those ones
up?
where she's like pretty hot, but she looks like him. And
I don't know. She looks like Rob Schneider. It's a very specific
banjo.
look.
Apparently, one of her albums was produced by Chris DiStefano.
I've seen this man do unforgivable things. Deep in the woods.
And she was in Deuce Bigalow, Mel Gigolo as a child.
Your father was acting as a European gigolo in 2005.
That's weird.
I know where your money comes from.
I wonder, I mean, she lives in Brooklyn, you wonder if you ever crossed paths with her.
Probably.
But you won't cross her twice.
Man, I'm going to try to date Deuce Bigelow's daughter, and then I'm going to be his...
Yeah, but it has to go well.
No, I mean...
You have to love that woman.
Well, between me and her, it'll go well, but it'll be funny to be the guy that he then hates, and I go to dinner, and I'm like, what's up, man?
Yeah, there's a new Rob Schneider movie just about wanting to kill Jake specifically.
I parked my motorcycle on your fucking lawn, man.
The boyfriend who sucks. Rated PG-13.
Yeah.
That's one of those movies where he does all the roles.
Yeah.
It's just him doing his best Jake.
Yeah, he's me. And then he's all of us doing a podcast.
No! I can't get taken down this way.
Wait, why? I am a cook, blue-haired, non-binary.
Oh, I'm a non-binary. Yeah, and then his portrayal of Anders would be unforgivable, the things he would say about Anders.
You can do it. Is that who you do?
Yeah, it would be like that. Oh, shit. So, yeah, Rob Schneider has chosen a side in the culture war, so I guess let him go. You have to forgive him. He is Glenn Beck's friend now. And you have to burn your DVDs of The Animal, of Martians Go Home, 1989, of Surf Ninjas, 1993.
Trying to find this. It's called My Daughter and Me. What is it?
I already forgot.
Daddy-daughter trip.
Daddy-daughter
okay.
vacation.
I took
Daddy-daughter
Adderall
trip.
today. It's if you go to his Twitter, it's the banner.
Yeah, it's daddy-daughter vacation.
Is it just them? I'm trying to figure out what the
Daddy-daughter
premise
trip.
of this is. Second
Daddy-daughter
grader.
trip, you're right. It's about them taking mushrooms together.
It's about a second grader who wants to go on a trip. that
Damn,
they
dude,
can't
he's
afford.
like aged really badly too.
I know, he
his
looks
face
weird.
is like stretched out or something.
Hey, it happens.
It's, you know what it is? It's the uncanny thing of like you've had some surgeries, but like not in the way that make you look any younger.
Yeah, no,
You know what I mean? Like you just become like the half machine type.
if there's a weird like catch-22 with plastic surgery, I bet, where like the people that got the really good stuff got it to where we can't tell they have it, and then everyone else that got like coach level. Like,
Adam Sandler looks great. I'm saying for the record.
dude, I went to his website because it's listed on his Twitter here, and there's like, you know, the ad for his movie, a little trailer, and then below it, it's new Netflix comedy streaming special. And the title of it, I guess, or the title of this clip is Asian Mama, Mexican Kids, and then him doing wacky arms. That sounds like it's so, I bet it's just good jokes, man. It's so
The
original.
thing about Asian mamas is their arms go crazy.
What the fuck
Shit.
could that possibly... I mean, unless you're doing like ironic, self-aware edgelord comedy that is sort of making fun of the idea of doing a joke like this, there's no way he's an old man. He's just doing what if there was an Asian mom and Mexican kids.
Maybe he's talking about the history of the Japanese peanut.
What?
Interesting.
It's a snack from Mexico invented by a Japanese man.
Andrews has this written down in his notebook. It's like, this actually segues perfectly into my Japanese peanuts. So it tastes like, what did you just say?
It's pretty salty. It's just got like a salty coating on top of a peanut.
How is it Mexican?
It's from Mexico.
Okay.
They produced it there. It was invented there by a guy who was from Japan.
And then the Japanese have done imperialism to it?
No, it's just a guy moved to Mexico from Japan. They can do that.
It's
my
They'll let them do anything these days.
I get my burritos at 7-Eleven.
I get my peanuts in Mexico.
Oh yeah, there's a peanut involved here.
I think he was a scientist. You could do a lot with this. And
Where did you come across this?
I learned about it.
What
And
are you talking
I'm
about?
embarrassed to say how I know about it, but
Please.
No, we got it here.
I
now.
learned about it at the new school.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. Now we're on to something. Is this its own course or major, or where does this fit in? Is this in like peanut cultures?
No, it was about Latin American
Did you have to take like a cultures class? I had to take a cultures class.
I wish.
I
would have.
took a one of my freshman year required classes was like you have to take a class on a culture, and I took a class on
Any culture.
on Japan, and it was like clearly not designed for 18-year-olds. It was like very post-grad-y, and they were like, the now, is it real or is it beyond the thermal or whatever? Like it was like,
Damn.
it was used. I learned nothing. I learned nothing for 6 months.
Sometimes I forget
We
you guys
watched Akira.
both went to the new school because personally, I went to the
He's
old school.
I've walked right the fuck into that. I just wish I could turn into a peanut and disappear.
Yeah, I went to a college where they taught us like how to drive with one arm, and you only move the steering wheel with your palm. That's something they teach you at the old school.
Oh, I've always wanted to know how to do that.
Yeah, it's called a palm roll.
Oh, and then you do the thing where you roll the whole wheel left.
All just with your
One
palm,
sweet
man.
motion. Oh my god.
And you're leaning back real hard. They don't teach you that at the new school. You might have learned about Gramsci and shit, but they taught us.
No driver's ed. It's a shame.
We learned about all the different peanuts that the Frankfurt School discovered in their research.
That would be great, actually. The semiotics of the peanut or some bullshit.
Yeah,
They
that
do
would be great.
They would.
Yeah,
The planners guy, a whole fucking theory about him.
I can't read. I think all of that stuff is so boring. The Frankfurt School stuff. I've tried to learn about it like 5 times.
we learned about
Yeah.
Peanut, the bassist from The Offspring.
That's right.
That's old school.
That's old school. God damn it, Jake. You're a cool guy.
Peanut noodles?
Peanut noodles. Oh wait, the Peanuts in 311. Fuck, I failed out of the old school. I'm
All
sorry.
right, we're gonna cut that out. We're gonna make sure
Please,
that
my
lands
reputation.
up real nice. The segment's good. We're keeping the segment. It's another week of Pod Damn America. We're back. Anders has returned from his massage. How did it go?
I got cupped. I have. I tried to trick you into thinking I had a tramp stamp earlier, but I guess you saw the photo.
Yeah, I saw you posted online first.
I was thinking about doing a prank.
Otherwise, it would have surprised me. Actually, I didn't even think about that.
People already know about this. I guess I hadn't been that familiar, but in case you don't know, cupping is. I don't totally know how it works, but when you get a massage, and this guy really pushed this on me. I said no at first, but he was like,
he upsold you.
He upsold me on cupping.
He cupsold you.
Really? Yeah, because he, according to him, I think this is what he was trying to say. If he gave me my shoulders are really tight, and if I hadn't got the cupping, then it would have hurt a lot the next day. So he said that with the cupping, you will feel no pain.
What does the cupping do? So Anders has these large brown welts on his back.
They're just
in
like
circles.
bruises. Yeah.
Yeah, they're bruises, but they're like all over the place, and they're big.
It's like a.
So Anders has monkeypox.
That's what it looks like.
If I didn't know you did this, you probably could convince me you have some terrible disease.
Yeah, I should get some free candy, some free Japanese peanuts. But it is a candle, a series of candles that they light and then put in like this suction cup and put on your body, on your back, and you have to lie there and let them kind of. I mean, some people say it doesn't do anything, and that's the thing with,
Why does it leave a bruise?
Because the candle is like creating a vacuum,
Yeah.
so it's sucking the air out of the cup that's on your skin. So the vacuum is sealing against your skin and like.
What does that feel like?
Just feels like there's a slight burning sensation. Doesn't really feel like much, honestly.
Oh, wow.
And it feels very nice when it gets taken off, and then honestly, it doesn't really feel like anything.
And
so
then
this worked then.
You look like a slice of pepperoni pizza.
I guess it was $25 extra, which I was not thrilled about, but
It's kind of hard to say no to somebody when you're like naked on a table.
yeah. And he was really adamant that it would hurt without that. But
They're threatening you with pain.
They say like, do you want the cupping or to be jacked off? You go, wait,
I have a girlfriend.
There's not a no option to just finish?
How much money do you need to not jack me off?
yeah, but that's the thing is with acupuncture. I don't know if you guys have had acupuncture before.
I have not, Jake.
No.
My insurance doesn't cover it anymore, but they don't know why it works or how it works. They just know that it for some people does do some stuff. Some people in my family included. So it's hard to say because science only studies the stuff we absolutely 110% know for absolute sure. And any good scientist will tell you that doesn't mean there's other shit going on in the universe, in our physical realm that we just don't understand.
Right, there could be needle stuff.
Yeah, needles, cups,
Science
candles.
doesn't know about needles or cups yet.
Right. There's a ton of things that, like, there's...
Any of that Alice in Wonderland around the house shit.
Right.
That's outside of science.
Lin Huan, I think that's what it's called. There was this medicine I was trying to get when I had COVID. Hard to come by, but apparently it's like frowned upon by the FDA and U.S. medical establishment. But they gave this to everybody in China who had during the pandemic, and it helped just wipe it out. So,
Did they gave everyone cupping?
No, I think it's called Lin Huan. I forget the exact name, but
I don't even know.
It's like this herbal tea that just expels toxins.
It's like a magic Mexican peanut.
Yes.
It's a sensu bean.
There are all sorts of different beans and nuts that you can take that are outside of technology. It's another week of the news with us, your friends.
What does Rob Schneider talk like? I'm a Jake Flores.
Well, now it's like kind of like this, the darkness.
He talks like
Yeah,
Batman.
you want to be Glenn Beck, Rob Schneider, because Rob Schneider's range is outside of anything we could touch.
Okay. I'm Jake Flores. This is another episode of Patriot Talk.
And I'm also a hot girl. At the same time. You can't really see me
You know
too
what?
well.
Now that I'm thinking, I probably should tell you this off air. A story about the hot chick. Did you see that as a kid?
I have not seen it.
I remember watching
My
it.
mother wouldn't let me watch it. She heard there was a hot chick in it.
I went to a doctor and he put animal parts in me.
I also, even as a child, was like, this guy sucks.
No one knows
I
why it works.
Did not enjoy his films, even like as a stupid baby.
Well, now I'm thinking about it, Hot Chick is actually a very sort of.
It's revolutionary in a way. You're saying?
In a way,
It's sort of. They made us watch this at the new school.
As
It is
Marxists,
something you
we
would
must
watch.
consider the
It is
works of
something that-
Rob Schneider.
they would show there because it's about breaking gender boundaries and who's really how different. I mean, the premise is
What makes a hot chick? In
Right.
my class, we will research different peanuts that show you.
Hot chick is more performed than innate.
yeah,
You know?
that's kind of what it's about because he's supposed to be the opposite of a hot chick, but he has her brain and experiences all of a sudden. I don't know. I don't remember how that happens, but
So, what's your story?
I watched it with a friend, and oh my god, I should not be saying this on the podcast, but it.
How bad could it be? It's about the hot chick.
With this, I was 10, 11, puberty was, and the hormones are going crazy, and I asked the friend if we wanted to just pretend we were girls for a second. And
Okay, that was a good start.
he just assumed, for me at the time, thankfully, that I was kidding and trying to like goad him into being like, gotcha, you're gay.
Yeah, sure.
And so he laughed it off, but I was like, and I went with it. But for a second there, I was actually like, I just, needed to get rid of this
I don't understand what you wanted to do. So you wanted to
rub. And
You just wanted to be touched by a friend.
yeah,
I think a lot of people feel that way.
right.
I don't. And then,
It's
yeah.
weird because it was so young.
So you were like almost experiment. Well, so
Yeah.
you were prepubescent though.
Yes. But,
Yeah, I think
not
this is
totally-
a common thing. I don't
not
think you're
totally
alone
pre.
in this, but I don't really feel like it's super related to Rob Schneider's The Hot Chick, unless that's
I
what
think
inspired
we
you to
watched
do
it right before this.
Oh, yeah. And then
And
you were like,
now you get cups put on your body. And
why are
burned.
you as a man getting cuffs
We
on
should
your
go
body?
to Jordan Peterson with this, and he will thereby get Rob Schneider canceled for confusing young boys into thinking that they can experiment with each other.
You've crossed the Rubicon. You've forgotten where the chick begins and your friend ends.
Yeah, apparently he goes to comedy clubs. I just saw in DC some people. He showed up at this indie venue.
Oh fuck! Some comic I hate recently had Jordan Peterson in the audience. I can't remember who it was. Somebody just told
Andrew
me.
Santino.
It's
There's too many people.
There's like a million of them, but
This would be a waste of time.
somebody was very vindicating to hear.
He looks like me, so I can't.
I understand why Jordan Peterson would want to go be in comedy show audiences because, he's seeing all the people who stand up for him online are all stand-up comedians. This is his new hot place he's going. This is the new University of Toronto for this guy.
Yeah, that's how you know stand-up comedy is thriving.
It's
and
doing well.
Is that it's just like
We're between
back in the day,
booms
man.
and
It's the Rat Pack all over again. Jordan Peterson and Andrew Yang are hanging out in the green room. Fuck, it's got to get wild in there, man.
guess who
Vapes, they're
signed the table. It's moving on.
I was gonna say, what's the next one?
Yeah, there's some rail strike action happening in the United Kingdom, which Bernie went over to support. He gave a speech where he was trying to say it's the same thing going on in the U.S. and the U.K., but he used the word, it's the same bloody thing.
Oh my God, they love that there.
Right, as a sop to the UK vernacular.
They eat it up.
Damn.
But yeah, the Labor Party there is really hesitant to support any fucking strike activity, which is kind of amazing. They're doing temporary work stoppages here and there. The RMT, which is their rail union, and a similar thing may happen here in the United States with. There's a couple different unions that represent rail workers. Amtrak workers, and I think there's a few different ones involved, but there's a presidential board that is making some recommendations for how to avoid this calamity, and strike a fair deal. But so far the recommendations kind of suck. They don't really involve like more money for the workers, which is kind of the main thing that they want. And, there's like some really strict rules and shit that they want to have a little more flexibility with. And the board so far is not really.
One of our recommendations would be to stop striking and cut it out.
Yeah.
Knock it off and go back to work. And don't look at me. Don't keep your eyes down.
Right. So we could see a national rail strike in the next month or so in the United States. You heard it here first, folks.
I feel like it's not as exciting here as it is in the UK because more people be taking the train over there.
National rail strike is when everyone stops getting railed for the time being.
Yeah.
In order to.
It's the alternate title of Lysistrata.
Yeah.
Now that's a good joke.
There we go.
New school.
Yeah. They teach you that at the new school.
Yeah, that's one of the classes. Okay.
I learned that at Rob Schneider's comedy school.
Woo!
It only cost me $600, and then we got to do a show at Caroline's at the end of it in front of 7 people.
It's going to a good cause. It's keeping Rob Schneider's forehead uncreased.
Yeah.
So what's your opinion of this strike?
I mean, it's exciting that it could have, because yes, passenger transportation, I would say fairly popular on the East Coast. I'm not a West Coast dude, so I don't know how much it happens over there. But
yeah, could you imagine West Coast Anders?
He would be out of. People assume I'm from California because of my laid back vibes.
Well, they kratom, yeah.
Is that a California thing? I guess so.
Well, it makes you really laid back.
Yeah.
And really keyed up at the same time. It's a weird vibe you got,
That's the thing is my girlfriend's mom, when we explained it to her, she was like, it sounds like it does everything. I don't understand. Yeah. You said it makes you relaxed and focused. Which is it?
It's illogical to me, but your cherry blonde hair seems as if it's been kissed by the sun, Cali style.
That means with an avocado on the lips?
Yeah, it's just like
sticking out of the
West.
teeth?
You'd seem like if I was going to be like, where's this guy from? And be like, probably Cali style. Like he's like a West Coast Anders, but it couldn't be farther from the truth.
Yeah.
No, I'm an East Coast bitch, a bit of a Midwest
Oh my God.
flavor in there as well.
Yeah.
You would burn in the sun.
Jake is telling it like it is.
Yeah.
That part is true.
Why don't you come fight me in Scottsdale, Arizona?
Oh, God.
You'll burn in the sun down here.
That's the weird thing. There's a lot of people like me in Scottsdale. They must be turning red.
That's true. Well, they keep out of the sun by growing a giant head of dreadlocks and then putting a cowboy hat on top of it.
Sounds like a plan. But I think it's an exciting development. Passenger rail is not nearly as popular here as it is in the UK, but still would affect, I think, at a minimum, the East Coast a lot. But there's other stuff that's transported by rail. A lot of goods and commodities in America get around on rail cars.
It's up there with ships. God damn it.
Yeah. You know what it will provide, though? More entertainment for the Midwest. Trains are not as popular, but for transport, for personal transport, but railway tracks are pretty fun. I used to do this when I lived in St. Paul, me and my friends. This was a fucking Saturday night growing up. We would go walk down the train tracks and just throw rocks at the tracks and see the sparks that the stones make when they hit the track.
You're like bad kids.
Or just developmentally disabled.
I think that one is kind of a euphemism for the other a lot of the time. Throwing rocks at tracks to make the spark.
Yeah, make the spark go.
That's Saturday night.
Right.
That's pretty cool, actually.
And if you don't have
old school,
that's actually very old school of a thing to do.
That is old school.
You're old school material, my friend.
I mean, I do have to, and this is like a compulsory thing for going to the new school, is you have to say some old school thing about yourself after you admit the confession that you went to the new school. You have to balance it out with some yang to the yin.
You should use the word daddy-o more than you do. But this is all very interesting to hear about, and it's kind of reflective of the situation we are in economically. Here in the States, we're in a tight labor market. Okay? Labor rising. a new and exciting path forward. And we're actually going to talk about that right now with a very exciting guest. Let's swing to him right now.
Honey.
And now we are live with a very exciting guest coming in. We have Edward Ongweso Jr., a staff writer at Motherboard Vice, co-host of This Machine Kills podcast. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, it's an honor. It's a privilege. We're trying to get more journalists to answer pressing questions as they arise. And so I have some stuff queued up for you here. I was hoping you could maybe answer for me. What changes can we expect to see in Warner Brothers properties now that they are trademarking Big Chungus?
I mean, this has been something that's been keeping me up at night. It's so funny also that they already kind of own Big Chungus. It's like,
I was never under an impression anybody else had the rights to fat Bugs Bunny, but I guess it was up in the air.
just in case anyone doubted it, this is ours.
It really does question, like, am I the same person I was last year if Bugs Bunny is legally a different animal when he's fat Bugs Bunny?
Yeah. Maybe, a lot of people are really excited that Big Chungus might come in their video games, but I don't know. They need to do something bolder, I don't know what they could make. A Looney Tunes universe and Big Chungus.
A new franchise.
Yeah. Make him Thanos or some shit,
Give him his own ship. Yeah, a new violent video game starring like a God of War clone.
Yeah.
With Big Chungus.
Massive carrots swinging, trying to find the original Bugs Bunny. I think that'd be good.
To find and kill the original Bugs Bunny. No explanation necessary.
Oh yeah, why? Who cares? This is his mission.
Have you played Multiverses?
Oh, I've only played it once, and I got my ass handed to me because I played it with someone who's good at Smash. So
yeah. I know it's like a really stupid line to draw, but it's just like too similar to the other video game I've already played. I don't want to try it.
Yeah.
I don't care if don't they have like real people in there?
I wouldn't be surprised. When I played as like Shaggy.
Yes.
And I got my ass whooped by
who is not real.
Bugs Bunny or something like that. Yeah.
It seems outside of the spirit of some of these wonderful titles.
Right.
That they got going on in there. And I don't approve.
Right. There's something going on here. There's an agenda to bring Big Chungus on. I don't like it.
Here, ask what the Democrats are doing behind the scenes. What lines the deep state moves in the multiverses meta.
First, they want ranked choice voting. They're gonna run Big Chungus.
They're running Big Chungus in Georgia. Right. He's back. I dare you to find a character more charismatic.
They're gonna make them vote for the Green New Deal.
Big Chungus would be a fantastic Democrat to run, as he is just simply too large.
I think he'd also be a little terrifying. Big Chungus in my mind would be like all funny, like Bugs Bunny, and then just say something really psychotic quietly.
Yeah. He doesn't say the quiet part out loud. He says it behind closed doors, the way you'd expect of a proper politician.
Eyes just light up red and multiple voices in chorus join him.
Yeah, we're going to close Medicaid.
Yeah. You're going to vote for this bill.
Folks at home, for these jokes to land, you really got to be picturing Big Chungus, and I can't do that work for you. That's on you.
You have to, I want you to open up Google, type in Big Chungus, and just replay this section looking at that picture.
It's a podcast meant to be viewed multiple times.
You're right. Yeah. Especially now that, Big Chungus is here.
That's right. We are seamlessly segueing into the other thing that I thought we should talk about today, which is the United States economy. Mm-hmm. With inflation as it is right now, I don't know if you've seen the price of milk out there, Edward, it's got me feeling like Lucille Bluth. How much could it cost?
I think there was a point early in the pandemic, some people got a little mad at me for saying, I think that there was this family who was like, we are a family of 12 and milk inflation has hit us really hard. Joe Biden is destroying the country. But then they explained how much money they spent on milk, and I don't know. I feel like if you're buying that much milk, they were buying like 20 gallons. You got to go on a list. I don't
I'm
know.
putting down $200,000 a month on milk.
Yes.
That's unsustainable.
Somebody's good at budgeting, helping my family is starving. They can't have any more milk.
My 9 feet tall sons, they haven't had anything to eat in weeks. Their bones are like iron.
Yes. they're too strong. They won't listen. No, but I think inflation of food prices has been interesting because one thing I've been interested in the past few months is, what prices do go up and stay up. And food prices, because when we talk about inflation, we usually think about the prices going up and how to slow the rate of the increase, but not how to bring them back down. And food prices are ones that are going to stay up for a while because the industries are just so monopolized. At each point of the supply chain, it's like the farmers and the ranchers, they get fucked by monopolies that will hike the price whenever they want. Not even because they don't have enough profits, but because they just want more. And also because we don't have reserves of any of it. Like we have no grain reserves, we have no milk reserves, even though it kind of sounds disgusting to think of like a giant pit of milk.
How long does milk last? How long could a milk reserve possibly be around for before it's just a cheese reserve?
We're preserving that shit real good, longer than you'd like, I think. But
okay.
But also it's like we could, maybe dairy or like there are ways where we could change the distribution of the supply of it. But since it's at the mercy of these suppliers, you're just going to get that, your prices are going to stay high forever and ever and ever, and you can't really do much about it.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to talk about that, but what is going on with inflation generally right now?
Prices for things are going up for a bunch of reasons that have nothing to do with maybe a need or demand for the price to go higher. And part of that is because there's supply chain shock, right? And that just means, because of COVID, because of how COVID closed a lot of factories and production facilities and had a lot of workers who weren't able to come to work, and because of various crises that have made it hard for certain goods to be distributed on massive ships or through trucking or through freight or any of the regular distribution systems. There have been parts of the supply chain for key products like electronics and the things that make up advanced electronics, but also for foodstuffs and other sort of exports and imports that have made the prices go up, even though regular demand has stayed the same. And we've seen these increases go up in a few key areas, right? And that is with oil, with semiconductors, with cars, with food. These price increases also have the effect of, if people are anticipating even higher prices, maybe they'll try to stock up on them, or maybe they're willing to pay higher prices. And then you have situations where if I know you want to pay a higher price for my stuff, and I know that there's a short supply of it, then I'm just going to hike the price up even more, if I'm just like a company or a greedy capitalist, right? And so we're getting into a situation where COVID fucked up the supply of a lot of things. We have markets where companies have enough power that they can hike the prices and you can't do anything about it. And they know you'll pay higher prices. And so a lot of the pain is being suffered by the workers and consumers who are subject to, or at the whim of the corporations that are exploiting this crisis and hiking prices or cutting wages or trying to cut wages, right? In the middle of the ongoing pandemic, in the middle of the supply chain crisis caused by the pandemic, caused by a war in Ukraine, caused by factory shutdowns in China or other parts of the world.
Right. So, I have this feeling a lot with economics in a way where I can't tell if I'm just like misunderstanding it, but a lot of these problems don't feel like they're like from the material world. They're about like creating a vibe in the market and then making demand meet it there. Mm-hmm. So you're writing about the prices becoming sticky at a certain amount. Like once you've raised food prices to this amount and everyone's accepted bread is $5 now, you can't lower it again.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess my question is like, how much of this is a political conflict and how much is like a genuine like machine of the market malfunction, because inflation hasn't been a problem, as I understand it, to this level in America since like the Carter administration. It's been like 40 years since the Volcker shock.
Yeah, part of it is because it's just like there's so many crises that are converging on the moment, right? There are and that the core things, some of the core things that are driving inflation it was not just oil like it was maybe in the 70s, right? Or oil was not a key part of the crisis, or the only key part of the crisis. You also have like semiconductors and key electronic components of advanced electronics like computers, and high-tech machinery in factories, or medical equipment. Like these are things like that allow for higher levels of computation that drive a lot of the digital technologies and physical technologies of the world today that were in short supply because factories in China were, experiencing massive shutdowns or closures or freezes in production because of COVID. And as COVID swept through the world, it swept through a lot of Asia, right? In East Asia and Southeast Asia, the supply crises got a little bit deeper and more entrenched, right? And then also, again, with issues that were happening at the docks, some of the docks didn't have some of the docks were either overburdened, with the amount of product that had been stopped or stocked up there, or were understaffed and unable to actually distribute it and get it out. Truckers were unable to get things in and out. Like there are a lot of compound crises that prevented things from not only being made, but then like prevented buildups or that allowed for buildups to get distributed, right? And we have a supply chain that kind of relies on or assumes that things will get there as they're needed instead of having reserves or stockpiles. So a lot of stores, a lot of corporations, a lot of parts of the economy find themselves suddenly without what it is that people might want. And, ordinarily we could do a little price increase there, right? But we also have just a ridiculous, a lot of sectors of the economy are just so concentrated that they are able to leverage the power that they have and hike up prices in a way that wasn't possible in the 70s, right? So I think it's like, because of how since the 70s, the economy has kind of just gotten more, the political economy has gotten more concentrated, a lot more room for greed, and a lot more reliance on these core key raw inputs. And because of how deep that supply shock was, we're seeing price increases much worse than like what we might have seen in that period, or we're seeing price increases or the capacity for price increases that are much worse than what we might have seen in that period because they're unmoored from like the actual need in the economy, right? We don't have to hike the prices up as fast as we've been doing over the past year, but it's really just a function at the end of the day of corporations passing those costs on to people.
Yeah, the classical milk reserves are gone.
Yeah, right.
There are no more Acme Towers full of milk the way that there were in your grandfather's country.
Right. I think the agriculture system is a good one to look at here, where the Financial Times had this really good piece by one of their editors talking about how in the aftermath of the New Deal, there's an attempt to try to create good reserves and also lines in the economy of agriculture so that you wouldn't have monopolization that would lead to like massive price hikes in times of supply crises, but also would lead to fair wages and working conditions for agricultural workers. But it's been eroded over the past few years, where now we don't have strategic reserves. We have workers that are at the behest, usually put into debt to work for a few firms. We have like a narrow, we have like pretty strict legal system that would punish anyone who tries to get outside of the contracts that they have with the monopolists. So now it's pretty much also like, yeah, you don't have the milk reserves of your grandpa's time if they had them, but there's also, there's like a nice little turret on your land that happens to have a logo that looks suspiciously like Monsanto's, that will gun you down if you try to do anything other than what is in the fine print of the contract.
That sucks for me, honestly.
Yeah.
So what is the plan here? As the last time I checked in on this, like the Fed was openly talking about creating a recession essentially on purpose to
Yes.
bring inflation down.
Yeah.
I don't know if maybe they were just kidding about that, or if the plan's changed, as it seems like inflation's like less crazy than it was like 2 months ago. Do I need to start saving more money? I don't know.
I mean, I think they have kind of committed to pain, right? They've committed to.
That's the words they use. That blows my mind.
Yes.
The art of sleight of hand is gone in this country.
Yeah, no, I think they said the words like there has to be some labor pain, right? Which basically means they want to force layoffs, like, and interest rate hikes. The whole idea behind there is if you make it more expensive for firms to borrow money, they're going to try to cut costs. And the biggest cost for any firm is going to be its labor costs. And the ways that you do that are layoffs and offering lower wages. And you do the layoffs, and then there are more workers in the reserve, and then you can offer lower wages, and then everybody's happy, right? A bit of a nightmare, because it's also like we are still, it's been it still hasn't even been a full recovery from 2008. The pandemic also did devastate some people, a lot of people, and still ongoing. So still hasn't even had a full recovery from the pandemic as well. And now there's like a desire to cause pain to the workers instead of going after the profiteers.
Yeah, which is again like where we get back to like the political problems underneath the economic problems of this, of corporate control over the levers of power in terms of who gets the pain when the pain must go out. But I guess this is my question: is like, is the recession, is the shock that they're planning on giving this, is that the method of solving inflation, or is it the product of just shaking up the labor market right now, which has been like the most pro-labor we've seen in modern times?
I mean, yeah, I think these are fair questions to ask, because, when like a strong labor market is something that is anathema to a lot of these people, a lot of these neoliberal economists who think that it is fine if corporations have cartels to orchestrate prices, or if monopolies control sectors, but God forbid you have a say in your workplace, right? And so there, part of this is like there's a certain ideology that the Fed has, a lot of economists have, about why inflation is happening. They don't think it has anything to do with supply chain issues. So they do really believe, some of them really do believe, labor market pain is necessary, and you have to have a 10% employment rate, or an 8% employment rate, or 15% unemployment rate, or whatever it is, right? You need to have a higher unemployment rate for a few years, because that's how we can improve the economy and prevent it from heating up, right?
Yeah.
From spending all their money. But there is, I think also we tend to discount stuff like you pointed out, right? Where also these people probably are looking, some people, maybe not the Fed, but definitely some people do look at the labor market as it is right now and see the wave of unionization and think that in of itself is a concern or a problem, because it will lead to higher wages, it'll make it harder to fire people, make it harder for us to use monetary policy maybe as a tool to rein in the economy whenever it overheats. So I think that's definitely something. I think that's definitely something to not discount, right? That a lot of times these people do think the stuff that we want goes against sort of economy they are planning and would like to see.
There's just a few hints, like the nobody wants to work anymore conversation stopped right before this one started. And it kind of seems like those two things may be connected. Yeah, I mean, from a certain perspective, like, are unions the solution to working problems, or are the solutions actually, would it be more cost effective to develop an app where you can kind of be a Uber driver but for Pinkertons, like you can sign up and bust heads for the day and make like $6,
right?
And then we're probably employing more people overall and more go-getters.
I think maybe, and Biden hired like 80,000 to 72,000 IRS agents, and deep down a lot of economists probably just really wanted 80,000 Pinkertons, to just come through and bust the heads of workers for the next people.
All of the people who've been drinking this milk
Yeah.
that's
yeah.
caused such a problem are going to do a new form of DoorDash that involves hitting.
Yeah, listen up, folks. The free ride is over.
It's called
And-
DoorBash.
Yeah. Still funded by SoftBank.
It's almost the same company. That's the kind of weird part about it. Shorter shifts. It's actually kind of nice. You can focus on your career.
Right.
Okay, well, I feel like I've done my due diligence with like general market problems, and now I want to just ask conspiracy shit, which is this is the main thing I've noticed. Movie Pass is back again.
Yes.
I've signed up for it again. And I remember the first time being like, this can't be a business. They just give money away. This doesn't make any sense as a product. I went to the movies 100 times for $10, like flat fee. This is not correct. And when this came out the first time, there are just like a lot of businesses in America that feel like a scam or I've seen people who do know more about economics maybe talk about how we've been in a bubble for the late 2010s.
Yeah.
And I guess my question now is like, is this a bubble or is this just like what it looks like when you have been the global hegemon for 50 years? Your people just go to work at the giving away money store.
I mean, I think it's a combination of both. I mean, I really do think there is a bubble, and that it's a bubble that needs to blow up, but there's not really a good way to do it with the tools that we have because we spend so much time neglecting tools that might have been able to deflate the bubble outside of causing pain to the rest of the economy via interest rate hikes, right? The bubble's there because we don't really have any real guidelines or barriers between, or that stop like speculation or stop encouraging people from moral hazards, pursuing investments that are morally hazardous to the rest of the economy, right? Pursuing investments that have a systemic risk. We don't have like a system in place that incentivizes anything other than like invest in something that may grow or that will have an evaluation that's inflated, but doesn't actually like help people, just provides another consumptive good or product that relies on like unemployment as a result of the 2008 financial crisis and ongoing lethargic recovery. And also like take advantage of the free money because the interest rates were at zero, right? And don't build anything, just like build something to turn $5 billion into $30 billion. So I think the bubble is there and is growing, but I think it's also it's like one of the many bubbles that has happened thanks to this. Living in the most powerful empire in the world means you get to have 30 bubbles before the crash, right? And
nice.
30 waves of rats just coming out of the sinking ship, right? And is it gonna sink yet? I don't know, but I think it is clear that we get to enjoy. We loosely here get to enjoy this bubble because it's like everyone else more or less has to pay the consequences of it or will, right? We'll get some of the crumbs. We get some goods and services which are basically just servant work wrapped up in like new glitzy digital terms. You get, because of holes in the political system, you get servants to deliver you food or to take you across the city because there's not good food access, or because you've been cultivated to rely on demand, immediate gratification, or because the transportation system has been deprived, or because you need medical care, or, there's been deploying consumer goods and services to fill those plugs and holes in the political system without actually addressing the political system itself. And when you do that in the market, and when you're doing it in a market as like hands off as ours, in important ways, it just builds up. It has built up for one reason or another these bubbles that will, I feel, burst eventually, and that probably wouldn't have persisted if like the core of the tech economy were in Germany,
anywhere else.
Anywhere else. But then you see in places that wouldn't have had those tech bubbles, the tech bubble, because, for example, is it it's GoPuff. I believe it's GoPuff. Oh fuck. No, Gorillas, sorry. Gorillas is this ride hail. Not ride hail, it's app-based delivery service that is in the United States and was based.
Oh shit, they're the hangover company.
Yes. Yeah, that's what exactly. Right. So they do groceries, they do like food and deliveries and all this shit. And like they've marketed themselves in a lot of different ways. But like the core is they were kind of sustainable when they were just working out of two major warehouses in New York. And then they tried to expand into Germany and other parts of Europe, leveraging this venture capital funded lean model that has been taken in the US and exported everywhere else. And what happened? Well, now they're shuttering all their operations everywhere else because it turns out you can't actually run a company like that. But they tried to because the bubble encouraged them and gave them the false sense of safety to pursue that, maybe get a return on their investment, maybe flip the company and get out.
Is it just that workers in Germany won't do it, or that their labor practices don't accept it, or
they were doing it because it ended up manifesting differently there, which is also part of the problem because these services are like you can, if you are narrow about the way in which you're providing them, they can kind of work in American cities, but European cities are denser. A lot of the main cities were dense enough where it actually did make more sense to have these app-based delivery services, but then they started to try to emulate labor conditions and practices and cost-saving mechanisms, in trying to unload as much labor onto the workers as possible, trying to reduce benefits offered to them. And that just became unsustainable. The workers are not going to deal with it, right? There's a higher standard of labor conditions in those countries, and straight up, when you don't meet them, they strike, so they just... That's something that doesn't happen here for many reasons. But in Europe, with these app delivery services, if you look at each one of them, you look at Uber, right? If you look at Uber Cab in its earlier iteration, if you look also in Asia, when you look at Gap or Grab, when you look at any of these alternatives that have emerged, there are always massive labor actions when they fail to provide basic levels of dignity and for the workers for an extended period of time. And so it ends up being unsustainable.
Right. This is what I kind of was, what I meant earlier when I was talking about how the labor market has to cultivate a vibe in a way.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work over there.
Yeah.
Because they're too mouthy. They don't just do whatever you say and then go back to working for scraps. There's just like too much sass going on in the labor market now. And I feel like that scares the business class almost more than the material reality of what's happening right now, where they're still in control of like 95% of the situations they're in. Occasionally you'll get a unionized store or whatever, but like... Mm-hmm. Have you seen the graph that's like comparing wealth inequality now to the French Revolution?
Oh yeah.
And it's worse somehow.
That was this is also an interesting insight where it's like, I think one thing that the bubble has done, and it's an open question how deliberate, but by having a lot of the money shored up or developed in services that just provide like a sort of short-term feel good and hide the exploitation, you obscure a lot of that, right? Because everyone kind of like, one thing you can do is you can buy in to I hate the millennial lifestyle subsidy argument, but I do think that there's something to the idea that part of the power of sustaining the bubble has been in obscuring the servants, but still making you feel like you have servants. And obscuring all the exploitation that powers literally everything in today's world.
It's the beginning of the month now, and there is a real morale boost when you have money for 5 days, and you're like, I'm getting delivery, and then I'm hitting the town, and then you're like, oh shit, time to stay inside again. Okay. Well, I feel like we've covered some important truths here, and that's what we're all about. Right. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Where can people find you and your works?
They can find it on Vice. I'm at Edward Ongweso Jr. On Twitter, I'm at Big Black Jacobin, and that's where you see all my writing and shit posts, pretty much.
Yeah, sign up for those shit posts.
Yeah. Y'all love them.
That was Edward Ongweso Jr.
The economy is inflating like one of those plastic Tyrannosaurus Rex costumes from Spirit Halloween.
It's uncanny the way it's like that.
Filling, and its little arms are turning up, and there's a guy inside of it, and you can only see his face through the mouth.
My pocketbook feels like I'm trying to fit in a large inflatable dinosaur from Spirit Halloween.
And that guy inside is named Dark Brandon. He's in control of the inflating economy, and he's inflating it for his sick pleasure.
For his sick pleasures. Why else would he do it? Dark Brandon, he gave a wonderful speech this week. I didn't know this was coming. I don't think that we always get one of these. He just seemed like he was like open mic night. It's Dark Brandon time. Bring out the red lights.
Yeah, I mean, I was saying,
Bring out the ominous red lights. I have some things to say.
I think that like, I saw all the pictures and stuff, and it was like, oh my god, do they actually kind of know that the Dark Brandon thing is working to their advantage, and are they then therefore leaning into it? Or are they old and accidentally set the thing that's supposed to rotate colors to the wrong setting, and it's stuck? Because I know, you know how these things work. They come with that weird remote that's got a bunch of different colors on it and stuff.
Yeah.
But then if you press it wrong, it just stuck on red the whole time.
Yeah, it looks like you're in a lava lamp. Am I stupid or making this up? But didn't Donald Trump give a similar speech to a different, like, ominous backdrop, like a different, like, dark red thing? He used
Philadelphia.
He did shit like this all the time.
This is just like aesthetics. He would have like the Hitler background with like a large picture of himself in a fist or something. And now we're just supposed to, like, all these Republicans are posting like this. I've never seen anything more like Hitler in all my years. Like, we just did this. Yeah. There's a chance he just left the lights the same and forgot to change them.
He also, like, I mean, if you're already here listening to this show, you probably don't need Trump is bad and conservatives are hypocrites explained to you or whatever. But like, to watch all these people be so inconsistent and tweet about like how they feel so attacked they can't believe the decorum would be violated, and that like JD Vance is tweeting that
I'm scared.
Yeah. It's like, these are the fuck your feelings people.
Yeah.
So it's bullshit. If you find an inconsistency in people like that, then you can cancel out all the what do you call them? Reduce the fraction here. Yeah. And you'll find the people's real politics, which is that they like the things that they like and they don't like the things that they don't like. It's insanely like cynical and inconsistent for anyone to go, how dare he be a scary president, when Trump was like he was a scary lunatic.
Yeah,
it
was only like threatening people on television.
Yeah. It was awesome if you have a sense of humor about that sort of thing and you're like us. But if you're like a normal person, yeah, right. No, it was 10 times worse.
He ran on about it later.
He ran on changing the slander laws to be more like the UK, so he could like put people in jail for reporting on him.
Oh my god! Oh wait, did everybody watch this whole thing? It's like 25 minutes or something.
I think I watched. Yeah, we had it on at the department, but
I've seen some clips. I mean, the thing is, like, there's all this talk about the Brandon speech. You got to watch the Brandon speech. You turn it on. He just sounds like he always.
Right. It's no. I maybe I missed something, but I didn't hear any
Party's
new.
in jeopardy or something, and it's like, get this guy out of here.
I didn't hear any new proposals or anything. There was he got heckled, and he was like, "And you have a right to be outrageous," and that was kind of fun. I don't know if that was intentional, but. The main takeaway I think was the lighting, and I was saying on the bonus episode, I like people are reading way too much into like his actions, good or bad, as like how much that reflects back and forth between like social media. But the lighting does, make me think maybe they are watching the Dark Brandon the memes.
Right.
I think when he said you have a right to be outrageous, he was trying to say you have a right to be outraged, which would be a good point. But he has paint brain, and so outrageous came out, which is like just the syntax of that sentence. It's like saying you have a right to be fabulous or something. It's a hilarious way to phrase something.
IFC always on, slightly off.
I don't buy that he is like. There's a lot of like intention coming out of him in this. I think this is like maybe stuff that's being set up around him. You know, like his handlers were like,
we can change the lights on these.
make him look like Mortal Kombat this week.
I can't convince this old bitch to do anything, but he's red now, so I think we got our point across. A real nothing burger. I'm pretty sure, and if we're all in the Brandon camps next week, I was wrong. I was wrong, and I'm sorry.
Are we going to be in the same camp with the MAGA people?
Absolutely, we will.
God damn it. Okay.
And we're going to form a gang of soy boys.
It's also
Look
weird.
out, it's the soy boys.
It's weird that the Republicans are mad that he's using red lighting because that's like literally their color.
I know. It's stupid they're mad to begin with, the whole thing. No one should be mad.
You should have just leaned into it and done the, the Sith Star Wars music.
Oh, yeah.
That'd been cool.
He should have done that. He should have, with his mouth, done the song. No president has done that before. The tapes of Richard Nixon where it's like, ha, 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 ha.
Beatboxing.
You won't have old Luke to push around anymore. That's right. You'd have to know about Star Wars before it happened. Yes, for this to make sense.
It's a prequel, so.
Oh my God, Anders.
It was a long time ago.
It was a long time
from
ago.
From the 70s.
But it was in the same place, and that's different than Star Wars.
Okay.
Sure.
Yep. And that's what's going on this week in the wild world of politics. You tell me if something else happened. I don't know. That's it. What do we got going on?
Nothing.
Okay.
What about the guy from what was that story you had about the
What did I have?
You put it in the chat. I'm forgetting.
Oh, let's talk about. I don't know anything about this other than I read the headline, but it's very funny. Apparently, Iranian hackers somehow acquired pictures of this Mossad agent's teeth, like his dental records, where they take a camera and put it in your mouth, and they leaked him to own him. And I don't know the specific politics of this, whether this is like a huge deal in that part of the world or whatever, but dude's teeth are fucked up.
Yeah, in Israel, you do not want to have fucked up teeth. That's one of the things there.
His teeth look like that meme when there's like that one dying tooth in the back of your mouth, and it's like my dying tooth watching me sign up for more Patreons or whatever. So you're spending your money irresponsibly. It's fucking funny. Also, probably what my mouth looks like.
I was about to say, I'm not sure I am in any position to judge teeth-wise.
No.
Although this guy's mouth looks bad. I think he's farther ahead than I am.
Yeah, but we didn't get our mouths doxxed.
Yeah.
Because we're not Mossad agents, so it's a mystery.
My mouth doesn't have intelligence industry damage the way he's trying. Slowly having jihadists putting Oreos in the back of my throat.
Just be careful when you go to the dentist, that you go to a dentist who might not be connected to the dark web and might not sell pictures of your teeth to hackers. But I mean, I guess this guy was a fucking Mossad agent, so I don't care. I'm just warning it could happen to anyone,
It could happen to you.
That's right.
Yeah, it is pretty cool that this happened.
Yeah, if you have any photos of different spooks' mouths lying around your house, go ahead and post those. Get those out there. All right, I think that's it for us this week. Does anybody have something to plug?
R.I.P. Barbara Ehrenreich.
Oh,
That's what I'm going to plug.
Yeah, it's not really a plug, but
yeah, but we know.
Keep her family in your thoughts.
yeah,
This is not the first time we've done not really a plugs.
I know.
I want to plug.
I should just give up.
I want to plug the old school, my alma mater. What's a place where you can learn about listening to Percy Sledge, having a nice cold one.
I'm gonna plug gigolo culture. Keep it going.
Keep Keep it
fresh.
going.
Keep it going.
Gigolo
Keep
culture.
it alive.
Gigolo culture is dying in this country.
The woke mob doesn't want a crowd of women to come jack you off and then pay for it.
Men used to wear big puffy shirts.
At Andrews Lee on Twitter, Dursley on Instagram.
You get the actual plug-in. Okay.
Does it help? Do you get followers from plugging your social media every episode? I don't do it because I just assume people know who I am, but maybe I should.
You know, year 4 or whatever, I do think it's a reduced thing. You never know.
I mean, new people listen to the show all the time. All these people from my job I keep accidentally telling about, and then they listen to this, and I'm like, I'm a communist. Please don't talk about it with me at work because it's going to piss off other people at the bar.
Hey, don't get me fired from here. Anyway, thank you.
Most people I've told have just thought I said Pod Save America and listened to that.
Literally, people care so little about politics that they think that we are Pod Save America.
And they're right.
They are. So sign up for... we're selling tote bags.
Right, Crooked Media tote bags.
If you are listening and you know me, the little sort of Foucault history of sexuality for young children anecdote I had, that let's say that was a figment of your imagination.
Okay,
That did not happen.
The fuck?
that's good. We got to that during plugs.
Should not be an episode, but I'm just that's part of podcasting is you let a little too much out sometimes, and you got to roll with it.
That's right.
You actually could have just said, cut this out of the episode. It would have been very easy.
It would. I feel like the quality would not be the same.
I really liked it. I thought we should keep it in. Anyway, it is finished.
It's finished.